Hello everyone, my name is Devashish Roy. I'm the head of training and development at the Indian Cybersecurity Solutions, and I welcome you all to this special webinar today. And today's topic is AWS IAM Deep Dive. So we'll start with the AWS Solution Architect topic today, and the topic is IAM, the Identity and Access Management, and we'll dive deep into this topic and we'll discuss the different type of IAM components like the users, how to create the users, roles and policies. So let's start. So we'll discuss AWS IAM policies, identity and access management, and we'll focus on the roles, user and policies that is essential for security and governance. First of all, what is AWS IAM? Identity and access management enables organizations to manage access to AWS services securely. So we all know about the access control list or the ACL. So one type of ACL is the password management and another is the AWS IAM roles. And it allows for the creation of users, roles and policies that actually define permissions, and it ensures that only authorized individuals and applications can access specific resources. First of all, what is the definition of IAM users? So we all know that in cloud, you log into the user account with the root user. Root user is the super user, is the administrator. So you can do anything. But if you're talking about IAM, so I'm actually specifying some permissions. I'm specifying some restrictions on the user account, like say for example, read permission, write permission, modify, delete. These permissions we are all aware of the OS level. But similarly, in cloud, we do not have that type of permission, but we have some roles and policies. Like you will not allow a user to, let's say, launch a EC2 instance. So you will give that user EC2 read-only access. So there can be EC2 read-only access and there can be EC2 full access. So IAM users are unique entities created within AWS, and it represents individuals or applications requiring access to AWS service or roles. They serve as the mean or the media through which these entities authenticate and authorize their action. So if you're authenticating and authorizing, authenticating means if you are a valid user, and authorize means if you are authorized to perform such actions, like if you are authorized to launch any EC2 instance, you are authorized to launch any S3 bucket that way. Then unique security credentials. Each IAM user is assigned a set of security credentials, means the password. So like in a Windows also, here in cloud also we assign a password. There are two ways. The AWS can auto generate the password for the IAM user, or you can provide the password for the IAM user yourself, including access keys and passwords, which are essential for authenticating accessing AWS resource. So access keys should be there, and also the password, and also there is the MFA, multi-factor authentication, that is there in the cloud. Permission assignment, that is the first step. Through IAM policies, users can be granted permissions, and it can specify which AWS resources they can access and what actions they can perform. Now it can ensure tailored access control for various needs. Now, how to create and manage the IAM users. We need a structured approach to effectively set up and control IAM users in AWS environment. First of all, we define user requirements. Some user requirements to be specified. Now we have to identify the specific access needs, like do you need to enable the full access or the read access for not only EC2 but for databases, for S3 buckets, for different type of assignments and responsibilities of each user. So if you're the administrator, if you're the root user, you have to define the user requirements. You have to chalk out a policy. According to that policy, you have to assign the requirements. Second is create IAM users. You have to definitely utilize the AWS Management Console or CLI to create users. So we will create the IAM users because root user is there already, but IAM user you have to manage. You have to create and you have to log in with the account credentials or the account ID of the IAM user. Then assign permissions, implement appropriate policies to to govern user access to AWS resources to, so you have to assign the particular permissions to the users. Manage user credentials. You have to ensure secure handling of access keys and passwords, including the regular updates. So you have to have the access keys and passwords handy. Then IAM roles. This was the IAM user. Similarly, you have the IAM roles. IAM roles are not tied to a specific user or group. So it is general and making them versatile for various applications like Lambda function, like S3 bucket, EC2, many databases, SQL Server like database, NoSQL database. They offer temporary security credentials and it can be used by AWS service or users, enhancing security by limiting access duration and scope. So you can use these IAM rules widely to actually restrict the IAM functions of the users. Then what are the use cases for IAM roles where it is used? You have to use it for the service permissions management, cross account resource sharing. So if you're, say for example, doing some cross account, means from my account I'm logging into the other account or I'm doing some transfer, for that resource sharing. Temporary security credential management, automating the AWS management task, and federated user access solutions. So for all these things you have these IAM roles. Then creating and managing IAM roles. Step one is define the role purpose. You have to identify the specific function or service that the role will serve, including the permissions required for tasks. So you have to identify the specific role, that what do I need? Do I need to give some specific roles to the users or give full access to the user? That is the thing that we have to define. Step two is create the role. Use AWS Management Console to create the role, specify trusted entities and initial configuration. So who needs that role? If you are the administrator, like in the Windows environment also, we used to specify the user and then we used to grant the permission to the user or to a group. Now group is like a container, like you can add all the users to the group and you can assign the roles. Step 3 is attach policies. Select and attach appropriate policies to the role that grant the necessary permission to perform the activities. And step 4 is test role. So if you have assigned the role or policies, then you have to verify or you have to test the configuration by assuming the role and testing the permission to ensure that everything are functioning properly as expected. Then the IAM policies. So one is the role, one is the policies, not so different, but it is almost the same. IAM policies are essential components in defining access controls in AWS, and it consists of JSON documents like JavaScript object notation. You can actually see the policy document there in the JSON, and it specifies permissions for various actions on the AWS resources, and it describes who can perform what actions on specific resources are performed. Then managed policies, reusable and centralized policies, also inline policies. These are the two policies that you are having. Managed policies are flexible and can be reused access for a different entity and making them idle for centralizing permissions. Inline policies are specific. It is targeted to a specific resource and they're unique to a specific user, group, or role. And it provides tailored permission, means customized permission for individual use cases. So managed policies you can see is a bit general and inline policies for targeted. Like this is the managed policy. They can be centrally managed, allowing for easier updates and maintenance. And inline policies is for individual use cases when they offer more granular control. Then creating and attaching IAM policies. You have to identify permission requirements. You have to assess the specific actions and resources that need permission definitions, first of all. Then you have to create the policy. Then you have to utilize the AWS Management Console or JSON. If you are using the JSON, that is the scripting that you can do. Otherwise, you have to have the AWS Management Console access to create the policies tailored to the identify permission. And then the policy attachment. Attach created policies to the appropriate user, groups, or roles to enable access. Then what are the best practices for IAM users, roles and policies? You have to implement the role separation policy, audit permissions regularly, then use group policies for the management, monitor and log IAM activities, and educate users on IAM practices. So all these things are there for the IAM users, rules and policies, and these are the best practices. Means these are to be followed by you. You have to do the role separation because you are the administrator. Then audit permission, you have to keep the log or the auditing. Then use group policies for management because individually if you implement policies then it will take a lot of time. So you have to add the users to the group, that is the best solution, and you have to implement policies for them. Monitor and log activities, that is auditing, and educate users on IAM practices. Then the common scenarios of the IAM, this user access to Amazon S3, there is S3 bucket. In this scenario, a user requires access to Amazon S3 to store and retrieve data, and the solution is to create an IAM user with a specific S3 access policy. So I was telling you this, that there are different policies for different activities like EC2 access that I will show you. Again, for the S3 also we have to have some policies. Again, application access to DynamoDB database. For an application here needs to interact with Amazon DynamoDB. So it is recommended approach is to create an IAM role. First of all, create a user, then create an IAM role that has a necessary permission for DynamoDB access. And the application can assume perform its task without embedding long-term credentials. So we can conclude that security is not a product but a process. So that was said because the security, it is a continuous process, so you have to have the IAM roles because it is very important for the AWS security, for the cloud security as a whole. So that is about the theoretical approach to the IAM roles we have understood. And now I will take you to the dashboard of this IAM, and here you will see this is the IAM dashboard, and here you have all these things, like you have the users, you have the roles. These are the roles, but we will use a slightly different one because this is more for the load balancing, all these things, but we'll use a policy. And policies have different approaches, like it is for the AWS managed services, for you can have the for the APIs also, for the S3 bucket, for the EC2 instance, for the Lambda function, all these things. So first go to the users because we do not have any user. So create user and username. So I'm giving anything 2, 3, 4, and you have to check this, provide user access to the AWS management console, because it is optional, but if you do not give access, then what will happen? Then definitely this user won't be able to even log into the console. Then in the console password, you have two options. One is the auto generated password. Then AWS will auto generate password itself for you. But let's say I want to assign a custom password. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is a password that I have assigned. Uncheck user must create a new password at next sign in. If you want that users will have to change the password, you just check it, otherwise make it unchecked. Click on next. Then you can add user to a group. If you have a group created, then you can add this user to the group. Maybe on that group you have assigned the permission. So what will happen? That permission will also be inherited by this user. But I do not have that, so you cannot copy permission also from here. Then you have to click on this attach policies directly. So we will attach the policies directly here. Then here you give like search for Amazon EC2 read only access. You have this, click on next, and then create user. So the user created successfully, and now these are the console sign-in details. And also you can download a .csv file that you can open it in the Excel format. But this is the console sign-in URL. You have to copy this, and this is the username and console password. So you just copy it, and then you paste it, because otherwise you cannot sign in. This is the IAM user, the account ID, and IAM user name. You have you have this, and this is a password. So the root user, you can see it's signed out, because in AWS you have the one user that can be signed in, not the root user and the IAM user at once. So you give, say, ISSS 1234 and the password, and sign in. Okay, it has signed in. Now go to the EC2. Even you can see the access is denied to every service. Even the log also it doesn't have the permission to read. Go to the EC2, and remember we have the read-only access, so we won't be able to launch the instance. So try to launch an instance here. Click on the launch instance. Take any OS, like Windows, any OS. Take, say, 2025 or anything. Give any key pair, or even it is not needed also, because it will show you an error. Even go for this procedure with the key pair for now. Do not change any setting like network setting, anything, because we are just checking whether it can launch an instance or not. And just click on launch instance. See, instantly an error is displayed: instance launch failed, because you are not authorized to perform this operation, and it is giving you a detail output also. So it has successfully initialized the request from you, but ultimately it couldn't create the security groups, means the firewall rules, nothing could be created because the IAM user failed. So that is the thing that I wanted to show you, that if you do not give the permission, then definitely the IAM user will not be able to do the task. Then again you have to reload, and again you have to log in with the root user. This is the root user, I think. So let's check it. This is the user account, and no, this is IAM user. You just sign out, sign in again, and then you can see you have to again sign into the console. And now you have the MFA also, the multi-factor authentication, that is also there. So here you have to sign in using root user email, and here you have to again specify the username, and again you have to sign in with the user. So here I will again search for the username. This is my username, and we have MFA, because in AWS now MFA is mandatory. You cannot bypass it. So you have to have the app installed, like the Google Authenticator or the Microsoft Authenticator, and you have to tie your account. And there you have authenticated this account, and there you can again you can go to the IAM, and you can see the MFA also. This IAM source. You can root user as MFA, that you can check. And also you have the keys. You have to go to the manage access keys, and this account ID I have, and also these keys you can also see, access key. So if too many access keys are there, they won't allow you to create more access keys. So for MFA, you have to again delete the one of the access keys, and then you can create a new one. So these are the role policies users, and also you can create a group also this way. Create a group. You can give a group name like AWS123, and you can add the users to the group. So there was an option when we are assigning the policy that you could add the user to the group, but there was no group then. But here you have the group now, then you can add the user account here, and you can see that you can attach the permission policies directly from here, like the same policy, Amazon EC2 read only access, or even the full access. If you want to give the full access, you can give full access, this one, and click on create user group. So what will happen, the group will be created along with the user account. This is the group name, specify it and click on create group. So this is the name, user group name, user name, create user group. So we have created two groups actually. One is the permission is defined, that we have defined the permission, and this group has no permission defined. So you can define the permission if you want, then you can add the user, you can define the policies, or else you may create a group without the policies or permissions defined. So there are a lot of things in the IAM, and this is very important for your AWS Solution Architect Associate, that certification. And also it is important for the AWS Advanced Networking, also for the specialization as a AWS security specialty. But it is very, very important to learn the cloud security, because cloud security without IAM cannot be learned. And as you know that the network is now changing and it is shifting towards the cloud. So future of networking holds with the cloud. Everything, even the router switches, even the firewalls, say the access points, wireless LAN controllers, every controller like the automation also, that is also being moved to the cloud. So IAM is a key to the security, because if you do not secure the cloud, then definitely you cannot protect your resources from the attacks. So that is about the IAM that I have shown you today. That is a very important topic for your cloud studies. I have also shown you the practical also, how to create the user groups and how to assign the policies, everything. So that is about the IAM that I have for you today. And there is a lot of IAM, definitely, if you go for the security purpose, the MFA or the different type of authentication also you have to learn. But for the basic things, these are the basic AWS IAM rules. And also I have a good news for you. You have a contest running on, like you have some questionnaire. The link is there itself. And if you can give, say, 8 out of 10 correct answers, then you will be eligible for the certificate. And I urge everybody to do it right now, because you can learn a lot about the cloud computing and the cloud security more in the future days. So I thank you for watching and joining this webinar once again. That is all I have time for now for this AWS IAM deep dive on user role and policies. And I hope that you have got a good understanding on this topic, and it will be helpful for your AWS studies, for the Solution Architect Associate, or any other specialty certifications. Also, you can incorporate these skills in your enterprise network as a cloud engineer or a cloud architect. So that is it from me for today. I will come with some new topic next time. Till then, keep studying and bye.